All right, guys, welcome to our RIPPEDCLUB Coaches Diamond Dash kickoff call, and we have the good pleasure of having Mr. Wayne Wyatt on the call, top coach 2011-2012. It's an honor, brother, and I appreciate you making the time for us. So this group that you're looking at right here, these are the leaders of RIPPEDCLUB coaches right now. These are the Emerald coaches who are on their way to Diamond. They're blazing trails. They're making things happen. So I guess just to start off, Wayne, I don't know if everybody here knows your story about, how you got your start into coaching. So if you want to share that, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. I'll just kind of try and give a brief rundown of that. It was 2010 is when I started as a Beachbody coach. I wanted to do something to get fit. And so, got turned on to the idea of trying P90X. So did that and was just intending to do it as a customer and just wanted to get in shape and all those normal fitness why type goals. And then as I went through the process, I just started to really get excited and passionate about interacting with others, and that became like a really fun hobby of mine, was being on the message boards. And hey, I came in here so I could have some privacy. You guys got there. Oh.
Back here.
Yeah, it's me. All right, see you, dudes. Bye, Captain America. I can't find a nook or a cranny in this house.
If you see some little midget heads pop up behind me, it's the same thing.
Yeah. I'm like in this extra room in our house. It's like this back room. But so anyways, I started to really just enjoy researching about nutrition, because before I didn't know much about it. I was chronically a bad eater, and so I just got really interested in interacting with people and started having a lot of fun with other people that were going through the program. And then when I finished, my coach, who was Josh Spencer, saw my results and kind of started to get to know me a little better and thought I'd be a really good coach. And I really wasn't that interested in being a coach for the normal reasons about, wanting to grow a business or wanting to make money or, any of that kind of stuff. I just felt like I didn't have a lot of time for it. But I liked the idea of coaching others because of the built-in accountability. That was probably the biggest factor for me, because I thought, if I decide to commit to being a coach, then I'm not going to fall off the wagon. And that's a real important thing to me, is that I really want this to be a permanent lifestyle change for me. And so if I take a step out there and hold myself out as a Beachbody coach, that I'm serious about this journey that I'm on, and that I want to encourage others on it too. I knew that I'd be a lot less likely to bail on it myself, just because I'd have accountability. So I signed up for that purpose, really. And then, just started to really enjoy the whole process of seeing other people that, that I invite along that are starting to get results and starting to see changes, starting to feel really good about themselves. And so that was just really cool. I wasn't doing it really to grow a big business, but over the course of time, after I had just been doing that for a few months, things kind of that momentum finally started to kick in. And then I could see it as really becoming a business. And, I already had a good job. So it wasn't a kind of thing where I was like, oh, I hope I can grow a business so I can quit a day job. It wasn't really that. It was just, as it started to grow, I started to see opportunities and new possibilities open up, just because of the fact that Beachbody coaching is, so flexible on, you can really get as much out of it as you want to put into it. You can do it on your time. You can work within your schedule. You can, work with your own, gifts or talents or abilities, in the ways, the things that you're passionate about, and connect with people, because each one of us will connect with people differently. And so that's when I started to say, wow, this is something that's really, really cool. And it's not just cool for me. It's cool for a lot of these people that, that I've gotten to know and that I've invited in, and then, encouraging them to do the same thing. And that's really how the Beachbody coaching thing started to grow for me. And is, why did I have so much success with it? It was really just because I was excited about it and passionate about it, and I was doing it every day. I just, I was doing it because I liked it, and I was doing it, and I was showing up every day doing it because, as you know, it does kind of become a numbers game, in the fact that the more people you're inviting, the more people you're exposing to, the possibilities that are out there with changing their fitness, changing their health, getting into different workout programs, getting into coaching. The more people that you're exposing yourself to, the more no's you're getting. Obviously, the more yeses you'll get, and so that's why my business ended up growing the way it did. Is just because I was doing it every single day, and so I was out there in message boards and Facebook groups, and in my website, on YouTube. I was just out there connecting with people every day. So that's how it took off, and it was really just because it was a fun thing that I was enjoying, and it just grew into something really awesome.
Yeah. So when a lot of people see your success, they don't imagine Wayne Wyatt getting a no from someone. So what were some of the obstacles that you had to, were there any like fears going into it and actually talking to people about it, or how did you overcome, not necessarily any specific objections, but just in general, how did you overcome those obstacles in the beginning to sort of catch your momentum?
Yeah, no, definitely. I meet with failure all the time, and I guess it didn't bother me to meet with failure. It didn't like derail me. The thought of people saying, no, I'm not interested, didn't really faze me or derail me, because I thought, well, I'm just offering to help someone. And if they don't want to be helped, then that's fine. It's not about me trying to convince them to do this. It's about just giving them an option and giving them an opportunity, inviting them, telling them I'm here to help. And if they say yes, great. If they say no, that's okay. I'm still, around if they change their mind later. And actually, a lot of the people that became successful customers of mine and then coaches of mine are people that weren't interested when I first became a coach and told them they really should try P90X or whatever. They say, nah, it's not my thing. I'm going to, keep going to the gym and doing CrossFit or whatever. Okay, that's cool. If you need any, if you need me to help you out with, tracking your food on MyFitnessPal, talking to you about what I do on my diet, I'm happy to do that. And, a lot of people, that's how it would start. But just because I was available, then eventually they'd say, this other thing I was doing is just not working out. Let me check out what you were talking about before and go from there. But really, I've never been kind of the hard seller type where I say, okay, I'll only help you if you buy a challenge pack, and otherwise, I'm not here for you. So I would always just kind of meet people where they're at, and a lot of times it's, okay, they start off just wanting some advice on, what should they change about how they're eating, and so we'll get started on that, and then they'll, and I'll let them see what I eat, and then obviously they'll see that I'm drinking Shakeology every day, and then they'll start asking about that, and then we'll start talking about how I'm exercising, and we're just I'm just basically building relationships, kind of meeting people where they're at, and so objections they just don't really faze me, because I'm just kind of thinking more along the lines of, hey, I'll just help people from where they're at, knowing that because I've been doing this now for over 4 years, that a lot of them come around and decide to do exactly what we know works, which is plug into a challenge group, focus really intensely, stick to the nutrition and the supplements and the workouts, and get great results, because we know that works. But not everybody's ready to jump on board with that when they start. So yeah, so I'm just comfortable kind of moving at the pace that they're comfortable with.
Yeah. So when you started to actually, sign up customers, when did those customers start to transition into decided they wanted to take the next step with coaching? Did you present the same exact way Josh presented to you?
I kind of did initially. Yeah, I would basically help people through their transformation, and then, kind of see how they did, see if they were committed enough to get through like a full program, and, then talk to them about if coaching was something they were interested in. And then I started to, broaden, I guess, because that was kind of how Josh did it with me. But then I started to present to them the opportunities earlier on, like, if I saw them real motivated and engaging with me a lot. And I could just tell that they were passionate. I was like, I see that you're real passionate about this, and so am I. And, you should consider being a Beachbody coach, because you would probably, be able to really inspire people around you and talk to them that way. And then I also, would present the obvious possibility that, if they're using a lot of supplements and products like Shakeology, that coaching, signing up as a coach makes sense, because then they're getting their products at a discount. Yeah. And plus then they've got that built-in accountability, which is the thing that really kind of drew me initially. So I kind of approached it from several different angles. Some people, basically give them the option of becoming a quote unquote discount coach, where they're just getting their stuff paid for, and other people, that I could tell would make a great coach if they would pursue it. Ironically, I wasn't always right on that kind of stuff. If you can see my downline and all the gray people in the downline that are like long gone, I got plenty of them. But there's several guys that signed up as discount coaches that became elite coaches. Once they kind of caught that vision. But for me, it was hard to ever really be able to peg somebody and have it exactly right as far as who would and who wouldn't be successful, because so much of it is just, are they going to stick with it, and are they going to really just show up every day and do it?
Yeah. Their why has to be big enough. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So at what point, I guess for the Emerald coaches that are here on the call, what would be your biggest piece of advice for them on the steps toward Diamond? They've already been established. People are looking up to these coaches here on the call. They see them as a leader, and they're following them with, whether it's with advice or, they're following them as a sponsoring coach. What would you tell an Emerald coach to do to get to Emerald?
Yeah,
for an Emerald coach question, but
for an Emerald coach to get to Diamond, it's just a matter of doing what you've already done and just doing it more intensely and doing it more consistently. Because, over the course of time that I've seen coaches, there's kind of a way to become an Emerald coach that's real comfortable, that doesn't really push you outside your comfort zone, where maybe you sign up a spouse and a friend or something like that. And so technically you become an Emerald coach, but you really haven't had to push yourself or get outside your comfort zone or groom new people. And then that's where a lot of them kind of hit a roadblock, because they're just leery to do that, or they're uncomfortable doing that, and they don't want to push themselves kind of to that next level. But it's such an easy process that you just have to get out there and do it. It's just like inviting. At first it can seem kind of intimidating or overwhelming, but then if you practice a little bit with yourself, say, okay, I'm going to get out there and just build a relationship. I'm going to form a relationship of FORM, and depending on what kind of training stuff, and resources you've looked through. But then you just have to get out there and do it. And maybe at first you're nervous and sweating and whatever. And then after a while, it's just second nature, and you just do it. And so I'm always really excited when I see people that say, I have a goal to become a Diamond coach, and they're uncomfortable about it. And and that makes them nervous to set that goal and to put themselves out there. But then they go out there to do it, and they know it's going to be a little bit scary to talk to new people, to invite new people into their challenge group, to then talk to those people and, help them see that they possess the right kind of tools to be a coach themselves, and groom them up to that. And because that's all it takes, is just doing that. And then there's also, so it's not just inviting, because you also have to have some duplication to become a Diamond coach, because you have to create 2 Emerald coaches underneath you. So you have to, get more comfortable with reaching out to bigger circles that are outside your real core group of, family and friends, to get enough people probably to become a Diamond. And then you also have to, be able to then pour into those coaches underneath you and help them see how they can duplicate what you're doing. So it's not like it's some sort of new recipe. It's a matter of doing it kind of to a little with more intensity and more consistency. Mm-hmm. Because the worst thing you can do is take a long break and say, well, I hit Emerald and I'm cool with that for a while. And maybe once I'm hitting my, $250 limit or whatever, then I'll worry about being Diamond. Well, the problem is if you coast for 3 or 4 months until it becomes an issue for you, well, then you've lost so much momentum. It's just like fitness and health and everything else. If you finish 90 days at P90X and you just focus on, okay, what am I going to do next? Or you finish T25 and you focus on what am I going to do next, and you keep setting goals for yourself, then you're constantly moving in the right direction. If you say, okay, well, cool, I graduated Insanity, so now I'm going to chill out for a couple of weeks, and then before you know it, you've chilled out for a couple of months, and you almost like your day one picture all over again. So it's the same thing with coaching. It's just a matter of being consistent with it and always setting a new goal and taking a step towards it each and every day.
Yeah. So was there what was the your first coaches? You signed up Anita, right?
I actually didn't sign her up for a few months. Okay.
Yeah. So were your first coaches in sort of your like belly to belly influence, or was it through social media?
The first 2 coaches that I signed up were people that I'd helped through P90X.
Okay.
Both of them were guys that had like seen my YouTube video and connected with me that way, and then signed up to make me their coach. And meanwhile, there was a lot of belly to belly people like from church that I had going through P90X as well. Several of them ended up becoming coaches later. I didn't sign up Anita because I really didn't think that the coaching thing would grow into a huge business for me. I was just doing it for fun. And so then once I realized, oh, wow, I can see kind of a bigger picture. That's when I signed her up. And it was probably a few months into it. It was maybe 6 months after I became a coach. Okay. As far as the question of when did I sign up people as coaches? So yeah, it was really just, it was people that I basically was coaching, and then as I coached them, then they wanted to become coaches. And so I think I became an Emerald coach. It was probably at least 2.5 months after I became a coach. So it wasn't like a rocket ship blasting off. It was, it was kind of slow and methodical. Became an Emerald coach after like 2.5 months. Then became a Diamond coach probably 2 months later after that. And that's when I was, at that point, the light bulb went off, and I thought, oh, I see how this works, and took off from there. And I mean, you remember this because you signed up as a coach, not too long after me. You've been a coach for a long time now.
3 years.
Yeah. So they didn't have all these Coach Basics training. They didn't have challenge groups. They didn't have challenge packs. They didn't have any of this stuff. We just kind of figured it out, and obviously, it's not rocket science, because with no kind of set game plan, we still figured out what worked, and that was just build relationships with people to kind of bring them in, to get them to do what you're doing, and then that replicates. So all the training is awesome, and it helps kind of package that in ways that make it easy to assimilate and be able to duplicate. But none of it's rocket science. It's just about getting out there and doing it every day.
Yeah. So do you think it's as far as how you reached out to people by connecting with them on social media. Obviously your YouTube channel is huge. Team Ripped is huge. That's how I found you, was on YouTube. Right. So how important do you think it is, or how important of a role has YouTube played for you, and what convinced you to go down that road rather than, messaging people on Facebook or getting into Facebook groups, or did you do those things as well?
I did a little bit of those, but yeah, definitely. And, I thought, okay, so Josh Spencer was my coach, and his big thing was his website and his YouTube channel. Then I, made YouTube videos. And my big thing was my YouTube channel and my videos. And so I was pretty convinced that that was kind of the cookbook for how to grow a Beachbody business. And so I tried to kind of make that the template for the coaches I signed up. And it worked with a couple, and it did not work for a lot of them. And that's when I started to realize everybody's different, and not everybody fits into the same mold, because it doesn't have to be social media, and it doesn't have to be YouTube, and it doesn't have to be your own website. But it does have to be building relationships. And so it's just a matter of how you're comfortable doing that. And, one of my coaches, Brian Knopper, that's an elite coach now, I tried to get him to do what I did, and he did a website and he did YouTube videos. None of it worked for him. And then he just started kind of old school network marketing and just kind of talking to people locally. And he lives in the same town as me, but he just started basically building relationships locally, messaging his current group of his current network of friends, his list of friends on Facebook, talking to them, and then, gradually growing his list. And so basically just did it old school, doesn't even have his website anymore.
Wow. He doesn't have his website anymore?
No, he let it expire.
Holy cow. He had a lot of content on there.
But he's done it. And so I've learned a lot from him about the fact that, wow, there's so many different ways to do it, but he's building relationships with people. He's just doing it belly to belly and person to person, making contact with people. And he's done great with his Beachbody business, doing it that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's when I started to realize it's not so much the methods that matter as just the basics, the invite, to be a product of the product, and the personal development.
Consistency in those things as well.
Yeah, if you're doing those things, and then you can definitely grow a successful Beachbody business. You just have to be willing to do it and willing to invest in it every day.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some of the most difficult things you've encountered on your journey as a coach? It could be business wise or relationship wise. What's one of the most difficult things you've encountered as a coach?
I guess definitely frustrations, because not everybody gets it like you wish they would. Not everybody has the same passion that you wish they would. And, and I see it in my, coach Facebook groups, people. And I remember, because I used to be there, but I'll see a new coach that, has been a coach for a couple of weeks, and they'll just post this rant about somebody that they know would do great. And they were 2 weeks into it, and then they just fell off the wagon. They can't believe, and they're just all distraught about it. Just, hey, you work with the willing, move on, but I remember I used to lose sleep over the fact that, I could see potential in people that they didn't see in themselves, and it was frustrating. But then I started to get to the point where I realized, hey, I can't make someone want to, achieve their potential. All I can do is give them tools, give them my offer to be there for them, give them my time and my energy. And if they're going to do it, they're going to do it, and I shouldn't lose sleep over it.
Yeah.
So like I said, I've got tons of coaches that are inactive and canceled and quit. And I've got tons of customers that are in my customer database that I haven't heard from in years. And that's just the nature of things is, a lot of people are lazy and a lot of people are going to quit, and you can't let that phase you or derail what your focus is, which is to help the people that want to be helped. So that was a frustrating thing. And then, I think there is some relationship strain that goes along with, doing something like this, because it's different, and it, so some of the people that know you may think that it's weird that you're doing this. I know my own family thought it was weird that I was doing this. And, for my brother gave me such grief about this. And
how'd you get sucked into a pyramid scheme?
Yeah, exactly. My wife was constantly giving me grief, because actually what's funny is I signed up as a Beachbody coach while she was out of the country on a mission trip. So she was thinking about this happening. She was gone. I finished my 90 days, talked to Josh Spencer, signed up as a coach. She gets back, and I've got this YouTube video, and she's like, what have you done? And so, yeah, so there was a lot of stress about that for a while. But so you kind of have to, as you go through changes, know that that people around you are going to be kind of a little bit intimidated by change, because nobody's very comfortable when there's change, especially with the people they care about. And so you just have to know that you need to be communicating well with the people that you care about, and making sure that you're not hurting relationships in your life as you go about making any of these changes, whether it's fitness change. And it's one thing I talk about to my customers too, because if I've got a guy that is really wanting to change and get in really good shape, and his wife doesn't, then that's going to become a source of strain as he's a month or two into his program and he's making all these changes, and she's going to be real resistant to it probably. So it's a good thing to know going into it that changes cause strain. So you have to be able to communicate and express yourself and make sure you keep your relationships a priority, despite the changes, because changes can be very good, especially if you're going in the right direction.
Yeah. I don't think that strain has ended, because I'll be sitting there, Molly's making dinner, and I'm sitting there frantically trying to put stuff into my fitness pal to see what I can eat for dinner. And she's like, how much of this can you eat? I need to know now.
I remember we went out, my wife's favorite restaurant is an Italian restaurant called Carrabba's, and we went out to eat there. And so I'm sitting there on my fitness pal trying to find something on the Carrabba's. She got so frustrated at me. It's just because that was when I was in like my Nazi mode for 6 months. I never ate a cheap meal or anything. And that was not a good night. Yeah. So she thought I was way too intense on it. Yeah.
That year I did my original transformation, I brought tuna fish to Thanksgiving dinner. And that didn't go over very well. People looked at me kind of funny.
Yeah.
So
that's good, man.
Well, Wayne, I really do. I don't want to keep you on here too long, because I know you got a lot of kids who want to see you, and a wife who probably wants to see you when the kids are in bed. So
yeah.
Just real quick, does anybody have any questions for Wayne? Maybe about where to go from here, or just anything in general? You guys got the top coach 2011, 2012 on the line, so.
I have a question. So, Wayne, I've heard stories in multiple cases of fanny packs and samples. And I'd like to hear what your current take on using Shakeology samples is.
Okay, well, basically I've always done my samples the same way. And I know some folks have kind of changed their strategy on it, but I've always done it the same way, where if they're a customer of mine, I'll send them a sample and I'll send it free. But I only send them one. And if they want more than one, like if they want to try multiple flavors, I make them PayPal me. I can't remember, like $4 or $5 per packet beyond the first one or whatever. But the reason that I've always done samples, and I honestly have not tracked, I've not tracked how, what the conversion rate is in a couple of years. But back when I used to track it, it was definitely worth doing, because if I could give them a sample, I would give it to them on my terms, which was give them a sample, also give them a DVD. I always liked the breakthrough DVD, the Watch This, that basically gives them like a 15-minute spiel about why Shakeology is awesome. So I'd give them that, and then I would give them a little sheet that I gave them that had a recipe of how I like to make it. If it was the chocolate, I'd tell them how to add some ice and some almond milk and some peanut butter or something to it, so they'll make it good. And then, say, make this, watch the DVD, and then I'll follow up with you. And so that's the way I've always done it. And I think back when I was tracking it, if I were to buy a whole pack, so 24 samples, and I sent them all out, then maybe 6 out of the 24 people would decide to buy. So that's maybe a fourth or so. And then but if you do the math on that, if you've got a fourth of the people converting into Shakeology HD customers, it's well worth doing it. So that's why I always did it. And if you have a small enough sample size, though, then you might get skewed where you think, if you give samples to five people and none of them convert, then you're like, well, that's a waste. But over a big enough scale, I think it pays off to give out a free sample. However, if they come back asking for more, or say, can I try another one? Or then I say, well, you'll have to PayPal me because this stuff's expensive. And then the other thing is what I don't want to do is give somebody a sample, have them just like pour it in like lukewarm water and shake it up. Oh, that's gross. Because that's what I did. The first time I ever tried Shakeology, Josh Spencer, my coach, he didn't give out samples. And so I didn't try Shakeology until like my second month, the start of my second month. And so I was like, I just got to check out what the Shakeology is all about. And I got it, and I put it in some lukewarm water, shook it in a shaker cup and drank it. I was like, oh, this stuff's disgusting. And so then I was like, well, I don't care if it's disgusting because, I was like hyper focused. I was like, it could taste like junk. I'm still going to drink it because I want the health benefits. But not everybody's like that. Some people, they insist that they want it. If it doesn't taste like a Sonic milkshake, they're not interested. So so you at least want to make it taste as good as it possibly can, but help them understand that it's amazing that this stuff tastes good at all. Look at what's in it, and it should taste disgusting because it's got. I've tried to make shakes with all the kale and all the stuff in it, in my blender, and it's disgusting. It tastes like lawnmower trimmings. But so they do a fantastic job to make this stuff palatable, and it tastes good if you know how to mix it up right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the way I do it.
Yeah, I think I copied you exactly with my Shakeology samples, and I still do it today, and I do track my results, and I still get about a quarter, like 25% of the samples I send out come back as an HD order.
Okay.
So it's still pretty consistent. I'm a little bit more regimented on, making sure the people are serious about purchasing, in order for me to send it to them. I never used to ask that. I just like, yeah, just make me a free coach. I'll send you a free sample.
Yeah.
So. And
then like, oh, it was awesome. I loved it, but it's expensive, so I'm not going to
get it. Exactly.
Yeah, before you ask for the sample.
Any other questions, guys, for Wayne?
I have a question. So when we were talking earlier about signing people up to be coaches and how it's just more a little deeper of a process, but it's the same. A lot of people who I've brought in as customers are really new. And so it's not that I see potential in a lot of them. It's not that I don't think they could be coaches. I just think as a person who was a customer for a year, and my husband as well, and Todd did try to pursue my husband to be a coach, and actually Maul, I think, tried to pursue me to be a coach, and the two of us, even though we totally bought in hook, line, and sinker and had results and loved it, we're like, we're not going to be coaches. So we don't know how to do this stuff. We can't do what Todd does. And so I guess what I'm getting at is I feel like it's almost a little intimidating to bring it up to them because they think I can't run a challenge group. I just started. I don't have results yet. So I actually approached somebody about being a coach only because they expressed to me that they were going to order more Shakeology because they have girls at work who are like, you got to try this stuff. It's awesome. And so I told her, I said, if you have people who want to order, instead of you ordering for them, I'd much rather just sign you up as a coach, and here's why. You would get a discount, and then you could sign them up, and they could be your customers. But I approached her in such a way that I told her, if you're not comfortable running a challenge group, you can bring them to me, and they could be in my challenge group, and I'll be the figurehead of that. So do you think that's wise, or do you think I should let people run with their own challenge groups and do their own thing, even if I think it's going to intimidate them and not want to be a coach?
Actually, Lindsay, that's a good question because I do it the same way. Because, I've always got big challenge groups going. And so, I don't want someone because if they're on a fitness journey and they're inspiring people at work or in their neighborhood to want to do it, then there's no reason they should be referring them to me or to someone else. They should go ahead and become a coach so that they could then, have them be their customers. But yeah, it's the same thing. I don't want them to feel like, well, I can't run a challenge group, so I'm not going to do that. So I always tell them they can plug into my bigger challenge group. So I do it the exact same way you just described. I say, here, if you want to plug your people, if you are comfortable running a challenge group and want to run a challenge group or need my help, that's great. But if you want to just plug them into my group, feel free. Just plug them into my big groups. I have, something going for P90X or Insanity or Body Beast, almost all the time. And so they can just plug their people into mine and then be in the group with them. So, maybe your friend that, she's in your challenge group and invites her friends to be part of that same challenge group, but she's in it too. She wants to be in it. You want her to be in it with her customers, new customers, not just send them to you and not even be part of it, because in that way she sees how they're being part of the group. She can still interact with them, but yet they're part of a bigger group so that she doesn't feel all the pressure to lead.
Okay. That's the only person I've approached so far to be one. I see others, but my big holdback is only that, is that most of them are so new, I think they will have the same fear I've had. And maybe I just need to get out of that comfort zone though and tell them anyways and let them make their own decision instead of make it for them. I don't know, but I feel they'll have that fear of, I don't know how to do this, because that's how I felt for a year.
Yeah, and I would say a year's, in your case, I'd say a year is a little longer than most take to warm up to the idea, because, I don't ever just approach someone to sign up as a coach like day one, because same thing, they're probably not ready. They don't see themselves as a coach. But if, I see it for a lot of people, a month into it, as they're getting results, they're really engaged in the group, talking back and forth with other people, or someone else is asking a nutrition question and they're jumping in and answering it, instead of just leaving it for me to answer. Those are the people where I say, see, you're doing it already. You're coaching the other people in the group. You just don't think of it like that, because you see people needing motivation or needing a question answered and you jump in and answer it. That's really all we do as coaches. So it's, for me, it's usually, a month or two into a new person signing up that I see that, that I'm kind of comfortable talking with them about coaching, because I don't push it right off the bat. I let them kind of warm up to the idea of being a customer first, and then let them kind of start to see how what they're doing would translate well into coaching.
Just so you know, I concur with you that a year was a long time. Once I became a coach, I realized I was already doing it with so many people. I brought Todd like 5 different, I was already doing it. And he was telling me that. I just wasn't really, I didn't know. He was telling me that, but I just wasn't willing to kind of take the leap. And when I did, I thought that was really silly. Oh, and nothing to do with money, just silly that I was doing it for so long, and there were so many people already within my own network that, I could have, that are branching off to other people.
I'm trying to get her to take those customers and coaches back.
Well, I was at I'm a teacher for a living, and we're possibly going to strike. And so I was at our board meeting with all the, union people, and I'm standing outside, and Peter Gallegos, Megan Gallegos' husband, walks up and goes, yeah, I'm going to get my shoulder fixed. I'm going to do body beast and Todd's challenge group. And this is a guy who, when I brought his wife in, was like, I'm not doing any of that stuff. And now here he's talking to me about Todd. I've never met Todd. I feel like I know you, but I've never really met you in real life at all. And so it was just so funny. I'm standing outside in my own neighborhood in California, and I'm talking to people that I haven't seen in like 6 months talking about Todd to me. Anyhow, so yeah, just so you know, I agree a year was a very long time to make the leap. I had a lot of reservations for a lot of reasons, but once I got in, I realized, okay, you've already been doing this for a very long time, and I agree.
But see that, and that's what, and now you have a story that you can tell to other people. The same people, when they have the same reservations, because you can say, I've been there, I know exactly what you're talking about, because I had those same reservations, and here's what I found, and then exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any other questions? I think we're good, Wayne.
All right. Hey, I'm excited for all you guys that you decided to kind of put yourselves out there and join Todd's group, because this is a neat thing, and my main encouragement to all of you guys is just promise yourself that you're going to stick with this. Don't let little things or frustrations or distractions take you off course. Just say, you know what, you made this commitment. It was important to you. You wanted to put it out there that you wanted to be a Diamond coach. So there's nothing that'll stop you from being a Diamond coach and beyond, and creating your own Diamond coaches, other than giving up. So promise yourself that giving up's not an option, and stick with Todd, because he knows what he's doing.
Thank you.
All right, Wayne. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time. So,
hey, thank you guys for having me on.
You get back to Captain America. So.
All right, dude.
All right. We'll see you guys later, and I will post the recording of this in the group, guys, so that you can review and come back to anything that you think you might have missed. So, again, Wayne, thanks. I appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon, I'm sure.
All right, sounds good, Todd. Talk
All
to
right.
you later, man.
Later.
Thank you.